Hello, everyone, and Katribu. I am Dina Ventura,
And I'm Francine Marquez,
and
welcome
welcome
to
to PairFect.
PairFect. So, Dina, it's the end of the month, the culmination of our very special celebration of International Women's
Women's
Month.
Month.
But of course, it doesn't end there. Every day should be a celebration of women.
I
Our
agree.
strength, our power, our love, kindness, gratitude, everything that a woman is made up of.
The
And
stuff.
yes, and the many roles that we play.
Mm,
Yeah, so today, just to cap off our very eventual month, we have a special guest.
very special.
Yes, actually, our dream interview happens today. We're so grateful.
Yes. And it's also very timely kasi
Mm-mm.
what she will talk about, everybody wants to do.
Yes, I suppose she
mean,
also has
part
that
of it.
dream job everyone
Oo.
wants to covet. So, she's an economics professor. Did you
Mhm.
know that?
I do.
And she used to be our agriculture department undersecretary,
Undersecretary.
and now she's our very hardworking tourism secretary. Let's welcome Secretary Bernadette Romulo-Puyat.
Hi,
Hello,
Hello.
good afternoon.
good afternoon, Dina
Well,
and Francine, and thank you for inviting me to PairFect.
yes, we
Perfect.
know you're so
Yeah.
busy, especially with all the challenges happening at this point.
Yes.
All the traveling. So, we'd like to ask our first question. How has 2021 been so far for you? No more questions
Um,
about 2020.
2021, it's just been so busy. Well, because we're already, if it's already MGCQ, tourism is already allowed.
Mhm.
Mm,
So we've been busy talking to all the different LGUs to please reopen.
Oh.
Some have reopened for tourism, some
Mhm.
still don't want to open because the contrary to what people think, they think it's the Department of Tourism that decides whether a destination should open or not.
Mm.
So
mm-mm.
it's the LGU. So
I
Ah.
see.
though MGCQ na a lot of our LGUs, some are still scared to reopen. So basically, that's what we've been doing, talking to the different LGUs. And of course, the DOT's mandate is to make sure that all the hotels, resorts, accommodation, inns, etc., are DOT accredited so
Mm.
that it includes health and safety protocols.
Mm-mm.
Of course, DOT accreditation is free, but we have to make sure that it is DOT accredited so that it's safe for all the travelers. But of course, we've successfully reopened Baguio, Boracay, Bohol, El Nido, Coron,
Wow.
Puerto Princesa, San Vicente, uh, Siargao. Actually, most of the tourist destinations have already reopened.
Mhm.
Some have reopened only their province mates or to their own region. But of course, what we want is for the LGUs to reopen to the whole country.
Mm-mm. Mm.
I'm curious lang
Oo.
about what Secretary said about accreditation. How does that go? Do the businesses have to make a request, or do
Yes,
you?
they can just email to us. It's now contactless.
Ayun.
So it's easier, it's fast. They can just email all the requirements, and the DOT needs to only go once for visual
Mhm.
to check it for themselves. But of course, during the height of the pandemic, they were inspecting via Zoom or yung.
Oo nga,
But of course,
that,
you have to eventually do it physically because hindi mo naman alam baka what they're showing is not iba yung expectation sa reality. But
True.
generally, everything is now online. So it's easier also, and we make sure that it's fast so that
Okay.
they can be accredited.
Secretary, cases of coronavirus has spiked. What has been the impact of this if this increasing number in terms of the promoting our local tourism?
Yeah. We are grateful that all our tourist destinations are under MGCP. So it means that there are no active cases or the cases are very low. Unfortunately, in NCR, the cases are quite high. But we always remind our travelers, even before the cases increased, that it does not mean, let's say, most LGUs ask test before travel. And some, as long as they're negative, they start to throw caution to the wind. They're not
So
safe.
careful.
Yeah, they're not careful anymore.
Mm.
So we continually remind our travelers, our tourists, even if you're negative with COVID, you are only negative at that point in time. When you go to a tourist destination, you have to be mindful.
Mm.
Mindful, you don't party. You only stick to your bubble. It's really just still wear a mask, face shield when necessary. Of course, you wear a mask when it makes sense.
Mm.
Because some have asked me if they should wear a mask while swimming. Hindi naman. You wear a mask when it makes sense. Of course, physical distancing, especially when it's somebody you don't know. You just wear a mask. And then always wash your hands or sanitize your hands. You just follow those minimum health and safety protocols. Not only that, not you do that not only to protect yourself, but also to protect the locals, those working in the tourism industry. You have to, it's now a responsibility. You protect everybody by being mindful, a mindful traveler.
Yes. And I heard that you're among those people who are very meticulous about that.
Yes, so with me, I always, I myself at the start, I was thinking, how can I enjoy a tourist destination if I'm following all these protocols, lalo na yung wearing of the mask.
Yeah.
But after that, it becomes a way of life. And of course, you remember in other Asian countries like Japan and Korea, even before COVID, they really wear masks in public.
Tama.
So you just get used to it, and it's been proven. We've been at this for a year already. That wearing a mask, I call it the 3 Ws: wear a mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands. It's been proven that if you follow this simple minimum health and safety protocols, you will be safe.
Ayun, maganda yung 3 Ws na yun.
Oo nga eh. Madaling
Pero
matandaan.
Secretary, you've had a sort of a head start sa mga tao ngayon kasi a lot of people now are just thinking of traveling. But you, even last year, you were very active. We saw it in your Instagram feed. You've been immersing yourself in many destinations and communities. Aside from the fact that you have to be very careful, di ba, you've gotten used to doing that yourself. Parang, did it take you a lot of time to adjust to that? And right now, since a lot of people are thinking of traveling na din, ano yung ma-advise mo sa kanila?
The basics talaga is you have to wear a mask. I have extra masks all the time. I only remove my mask when I have to eat. So palagi yan, I have a hand sanitizer with me. I have extra masks. And then my mask, since my worry now is because of mask wearing, baka yun naman yung makasira sa environment. So my mask, you can actually use it 10 times as long as you clean it. So it's disposable.
Oh, maganda yun, ah.
Oh, so you wear a mask. The reason why a lot of people wear cloth masks, but since I'm always out, I prefer to use the mask na yung N95.
Ayan.
So I just have to be extra careful. I started traveling June of 2020 when nobody was traveling yet.
Yeah.
More of because I have to check the health and safety protocols of each destination. I have to admit, the first time I traveled, I did not pack light kasi ang dami kong dala. Kasi I was scared. I was practically the first to travel, and everybody was staying home, but I had to leave kasi how do I know what's out there if I myself don't go out? And how can I practice what I preach? How can I tell people, do this and you're safe if I myself don't do it myself? So my mask, my face shield, you always bring extra just in case. For example, your mask, when I remove it to eat, minsan nahuhulog. So syempre you can't use it anymore. So I always have extra hand sanitizer, and basically you keep your distance. I don't shake hands anymore. I just, yung my hand, this na mabuhay sign, I put it over my chest. And people understand naman.
Mm-mm.
And before, may dala-dala pa akong madami akong UV light, etc. I just now have my UV bag, which
Oo.
which I use all the time. But basically that's it eh. You just the minimum health and safety protocols. And dati pa, when I first started traveling, lahat nilalaysal ko, lahat ina-alcohol ko. I
All the
still to
surfaces.
a certain extent. Syempre, you're very OC. I'm OC to begin with.
Okay.
Pero mas naging OC because of COVID.
Mm-mm.
Lalo na I'm a widow. Sabi ko,
Yeah.
nako, kung kunin ako ni Lord, paano yan? Magiging orphan sa mga anak ko.
Yeah, you have
But
to
you know,
think.
it was really hard eh. Before COVID, everybody was jealous of my job.
Mhm.
But now they're not anymore
Really?
because
The
you know,
risk.
I had to be the guinea pig.
Oh.
Yes.
And I admit, you know, it's just that, and when I go to every hotel, every establishment, I really check. I really tell them, oh, dapat contactless na ito.
Mm-mm.
If they don't have the capability, we give it for free. Yung
Mm.
contactless, yung digital registration,
Mm-mm.
online registration. And I'm the one who reminds them, oh, dapat may mga signs so people will be reminded of the 1 meter apart. Kung pwede nga 2 meters apart eh. You know, it's actually when I go around the country, what you see on Instagram is probably 5%. 95% is talking to the mayors, governors, stakeholders.
Mm-mm.
But syempre, hindi naman matutuwa yung mga tumitingin sa Instagram or Facebook if they see puro meetings.
Oo nga.
So, and of course, we have to show that, you know, you can still travel. You can still have all these moments when you go around with minimum health and safety protocols in place.
So I suppose you still do a lot of traveling now, especially
Continuous
since
pa rin,
magsa-summer
no?
na.
Every week. Kung ako nga masusunod twice a week eh, but it's well, I was advised na hinay-hinay muna daw, but I go what I do is, for example, I'm in the province 1 week and then I go around Metro Manila in the same week, because I really also have to look for places where people can go to. We had 2 travel surveys. One was last May and one was last November.
Mhm.
In May and November, they both said that people would like to travel for their sanity. They want to travel to keep themselves sane. But first, they want to go by land muna.
Tama.
Around first their municipality, their city, or anything by land.
Mhm.
And then they want small groups. And 96% actually said they want to see that health and safety protocols are in place.
Yes, important.
So, so I have to check myself before I endorse anything in the DOT. I have to check that all what the travelers are looking for are present in that destination.
But let's backtrack a bit, Secretary. When the pandemic was declared and lockdown was also declared in March 2020, what was running in your mind? I mean, it was almost summer and then suddenly lockdown.
Yeah, and you know what made it worse, Francine? 2019, we had record-breaking numbers.
Yes.
We had the number one in we had 8.26 million international tourists coming. That was the first time we broke the 8 million mark. We had 110 million domestic trips.
Wow.
Yes.
So record-breaking
Congratulations.
numbers, and then
Oh.
tourism was 12.7% of the country's GDP.
Mhm.
Noong January of 2020, we were up by 9%. So we
Already,
were on a roll.
first month.
Oh, and getting awards pa nga eh.
Oo
Yes,
nga
we
eh.
were getting awards. Although now we're still getting
Yeah.
awards. We're so surprised we're still getting awards.
Oo
But
eh.
wow. And then nung Feb, yun na nga, they were talking already about COVID. There were travel bans already.
Mm-mm.
So bumagsak na by 50% ang tourism arrivals. And syempre people were scared already to go out. But no March, I remember no March, the president was supposed to go to Boracay because to show that it was safe to travel around the country.
Mhm.
But everything just happened so fast. It was canceled and we were all called to Malacanang, and that was the lockdown.
Yeah.
So what was going through my mind, I was going, nako, naaawa ko. I was naaawa ko sa tourism stakeholders. Naisip ko, saan sila pupulutin? Kasi at the time, we didn't know what was happening, how long this would last. And then the whole world was experiencing the same thing. The whole world was on a lockdown. Normally, normally when a tragedy or there's a storm or something bad happens in the Philippines, other countries are there to help us.
Yes.
But we were all on the same boat. Nobody knew how to handle COVID. There was no handbook on COVID. So we literally had to make health and safety protocols
From scratch.
using common sense.
Oo.
Because walang handbook eh. And I was asking I was looking at other countries. I was asking our other tourism ministers if they knew what the protocols were. Everybody, wala talaga. So, and then now kasi our health and safety protocols, it's not only really world standard, but it has to pass through the DOH, the Department of Health, and the health experts. So, every time we make protocols, it has to pass through
Health.
DOH and the doctors. Kasi syempre, we're not doctors. So, yun, we made everything by scratch. But yun, we started, and then we had to talk to the stakeholders. That was May, June. But at least it's been a year. I always tell naman our stakeholders, protocols will always change. So at least we have the basic health and safety protocols for accommodation establishments, ibig sabihin mga hotels, where tourists stay when they are in a tourist destination, for land transport, even for scuba diving, for yung mga amusement parks. We had to make health and safety protocols for each and every tourism product.
Grabe, I
Yes.
can just imagine all the details that were running in your mind.
Yeah.
All the things you know you need to check, di ba?
Yes, and then everything had to go online already. Kasi it can't be naman that we stopped working. So April pa lang, we had already online Zoom meetings. I remember when I was pushing for that, I told our staff in the DOT, sabi ko, okay, hanggang Easter Sunday lang ito. But after Easter Sunday, tuloy-tuloy na our training sessions online. So at first they were conservative. They only opened it to 50 people. And then I said, bakit 50 lang? Make it 100. So they were unsure na baka wala raw gusto mag-online. I think the first online session, April of 2020, I think more than 1,000 attended.
Wow.
So people were really looking for yung may magagawa. They wanted to be productive even under lockdown. So that's what we did. We had all this online learning modules for everything under the sun, including for mental health.
Ayun, important.
Important, yeah. Because as Secretary said, people in their survey, diba, people were traveling for their
Sanity.
sanity. Yeah. So, parang, I think it was re-educating everybody, not just the big 5-star hotels, but also down to the communities,
Yes.
the little bed and breakfast, no, Secretary?
Yes. Oo, kasi tourism is everybody's business. It's really important. Tourism employed 5.7 million people in 2019. Because of the pandemic, 4.8 million jobs have been affected. Either they lost their jobs or they're back to work pero mas mababa ang sweldo kasi flexi time.
Yeah.
So you could imagine how many, kasi everybody thinks that when it's tourism, it's only those working in the hotels. They forget that tricycle drivers, those selling souvenir shops, yung mga masus.
Mm-mm.
Lahat yon nagkaka-income dahil sa tourism. At
Yes.
dahil nagka-travel restrictions, nawalan rin sila ng trabaho.
Zero.
True. Pati yung mga, di ba, Secretary, yung mga bankero.
Yes.
Kahit sila. Lahat.
Oo, tapos pati yung mga nagka-small business, nagbebenta sa yung home cooking, di ba? Minsan you go to this, there was this one in Siargao, nag-home cooking siya, ang sarap-sarap ng pagkain niya, but dahil walang tourist, wala rin siyang income.
Yeah.
So many people's lives rely on tourism. So, we are happy in Bayanihan too. Meron kaming 3 billion for financial assistance, 5,000 pesos each. Hindi lang para sa mga nagtatrabaho sa DOT accredited, but kasama doon lahat ng lahat ng nawala ng trabaho dahil nagka-restriction sa tourism.
So I'm sure among everybody else, it's you. You knew the actual scope of how this will
the
affect
entire
the tourism.
ecosystem.
Did you feel the weight on your shoulders? Parang, diba?
Yeah, but parang I think that's how we women are. It being a DOT secretary or just being a mother, because I have a lot of friends who are housewives, but the pandemic, the whole weight was on them, di ba? Sila yung mag-tutor sa anak, sila yung magluluto para sa asawa, they're the ones that save up everything. So it's really I really think it's women. Ang nangyari naman with the DOT, ganun din yung nangyari. You have to be brave. You have to keep going. You can't falter. You just have to move on because so many lives rely on you. Same as when you're a homemaker. It's the same, except different roles.
Yeah, but it's very encouraging to see you out there, even when people were still doubting that it was safe to go out.
Yes.
You were out there because you were fighting for a whole industry, di ba? From top to bottom.
Oo, pero I was posting it muna in Instagram stories. Ang daming mga hindi ko kakilala, they'll text me, ang tapang-tapang mo naman. Or, yun na nga all of a sudden, I had a job that nobody wanted. Nag-shift. And then, or some naman would say, we're still afraid to travel, so we're living vicariously through you.
Okay.
So yun.
It's something like follow Secretary Puyat, no? Like when I see you somewhere in the north, maybe
Gusto ko na rin
enjoying
pumunta
oranges or promoting local food or taking pictures also of the parang we relive that experience also and we want to go there. Thanks for taking us there as well. Na parang safe pala because the secretary herself is there. She went there to experience the culture, the lives, the food. Yes.
So, I think we can pause for a little break. We'll continue with the more stories from Secretary Bernadette Romulo-Puyat. Please don't go away.
Montero Sport. Elevate your journey.
Drive your ambition. Mitsubishi Motors.
Iba ng panahon, dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Buti ang bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy to centers, pati sa mga parties may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still don't remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayan.
And we're back.
Yes, and we're talking to our Tourism Secretary, Bernadette Romulo-Puyat. Hello again. Thank you for staying with us. Earlier on, we were talking about making decisions as a woman, no? Parang the weight of the world on us because of the multiple roles that we play also. Secretary, I know that you went through a lot of tough decisions also because at the end of the day, tourism is also business and there were a lot of tough ones, challenges, mga pasaway sa industry. How did you make those choices? Do you think that being a woman somehow has, you take that point of view or do you take it roughly? How do you make those decisions?
Before we make any decision, we make sure that we consult everybody. So right now, I'm proud to say that we have a very, very strong relationship with the private sector, especially with the Tourism Congress of the Philippines, the Philippine Hotel Owners Association, HSMA, Hotel Sales and Marketing Association. All our doors are open. We never make decisions without consulting with the private sector because they're the ones affected. And they might also see things that we don't see in government. So all our decisions are informed. Most of the time, our decisions, of course, it can never be 100% perfect for everybody. But like some, and of course, our decisions also are based, because there's COVID, on what the doctors say. For example, we have 3 kinds of hotels. We have staycation hotels, only for leisure. We have quarantine hotels, those that have to quarantine and wait if they're positive or negative. And the isolation hotels are those that are all COVID positive. Of course, some of our stakeholders would want to mix. They've been asking us kung pwede daw mag-mix ang leisure with quarantine or leisure with isolation. Of course, kung ako yan, hindi talaga pwede, common sense, because how can you mix leisure with those that are possible COVID patients or COVID patients? So then, binabato yan palagi sa health experts. So all our decisions are informed, and of course, with regard to that, the health experts have said you cannot talaga mix leisure with quarantine or leisure with isolation. Of course, not everybody is happy with our decision, but we always tell everybody that all our decisions are, we do consultations, it is informed. But let's say, if they're pushing for something and some doctors tell us na pwede, we are always open naman. We always say that protocols are always changing. It's not naman cast in stone.
Yes.
So for now, these are the protocols. But as we learn more about the virus, and especially now that may vaccine na, maybe we could lessen the restrictions. Kasi kami naman, we want it to be as normal as possible para we can finally, more people will get jobs. But of course, kami sa Department of Tourism, we want to restart tourism safely but steady.
Yeah.
We want, when we restart, tuloy-tuloy na, hindi dahil sa tourism magkaka-outbreak. Proud to say, there is no outbreak because of tourism. Kaya paalala lang namin palagi, whenever people want to travel, please, we always tell them, follow health and safety protocols.
It's nice to hear those reminders from a woman. Ano? Parang mas soft.
Ay, women are like that. We consult. We ask everybody's opinion. We don't unilaterally decide for ourselves. At least all the women I know, we make it inclusive. We involve everybody. So every decision is well thought of.
Yes, I agree.
I am sure the two of you agree. That's how women are.
Oo nga. We have a lot of considerations also, no? Diba?
Pero parang mas nakita
Tapos
yan.
may feelings pa tayo iniisip di ba? Pag lalaki, walang feelings na iniisip tayo. Isipin natin, ma-hurt ba siya? Di ba parang,
May
tayo,
empathy.
it's not only the mind, but we also think yung baka masaktan, kawawa naman, yung maraming tayo iniisip because women generally have empathy.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Empathy.
So when we end up with a decision, we're very sure it's the best decision, di ba?
At
Kasi
that
ang daming
point
na way.
in time.
At that point,
Yes.
Point in time.
So, Secretary, I keep on imagining your job as we're talking. So, parang it's so, wow, amazing, diba? So, from being the most coveted job in the world, you now have the most challenging one kasi you have to sell the Philippines to locals and foreigners alike in the most uncertain time. So, kayo, what can you say about that? And do you think that being a woman is an advantage in leading this industry in that sense?
Yeah, I think because women, as I've said, when we make decisions, it's very informed. There's consultation, and we have empathy. For example, when we give, I've been pushing really for that financial assistance to get to the poorest of the poor. Iniisip mo kasi like, lalo na me, I'm a solo parent. So, any person lalo na walang trabaho, iniisip nila saan sila kukuha ng makakain nila. And that's why for me with the financial assistance, I go around actually to make sure that they know that it exists, that the DOT through the DOLE gives this 5,000 peso financial assistance. I know it's not big, but at least kahit konti nakatulong. And we really want it to reach those that yung walang nakukuha pa. Kasi it's only when you go around. Kasi hindi naman lahat may internet, hindi lahat may signal. So I get to go to places where it's the first time they've seen somebody in a year. Ako na yung unang nila nakikita. And so I can update them on what the government programs are, what can we do to help them. And so being a woman, I guess with being a woman, that's how it is. It's as I said, may emotion na nakasama. You think about all your stakeholders. Parang I guess may malasakit. That's a typical woman. Iniisip mo na dapat lahat matulungan.
Okay. We know that you're a mother of two, and we'd like to know more about you as a mom. What is it like when you go back from a destination and then you're back home? Do you have some relaxation time, or are you still working from home? What is it like to be a DOT secretary? I think it's a 24/7 job. But how do you try to find that work-life balance?
My son lives in the province. In fact, he was one of those that was stranded during the lockdown. But yung masakit nun, it was the Department of Tourism that paid for the sweeper flights, but I couldn't include him because he was not a foreigner. So that was I was really torn by that. Parang naisip ko, kami naman nagbabayad. What's one person? But wala hindi maganda tingnan And then the policy was it's only the foreigners. So at the start, he was a bit panicking because sabi niya, what if, kasi at the time it was uncertain. He said, baka mawalan kami ng pagkain. Paano yan, mom? Parang, he was getting anxious. But wala that was one of the toughest decisions I made. I didn't include him kasi wala, the policy was only foreigners.
Was he there on vacation?
Huh?
Was he there on vacation? Or
No, he works there.
oh, he works there.
He's 23, he just turned 24. But
Very young.
yeah, but syempre, yun na nga, he was saying, Mom, how's this? Are we gonna run out of food? Kasi di ba lockdown everywhere.
Yeah.
He wasn't on vacation. But yun na nga since he was not a tourist, nung May, we also paid for the sweeper flights for stranded domestic tourists. I couldn't include him because he was not a tourist.
Yeah, pero,
So, ganun na naman. But kasi, these are things that, kailangan mong hiwalayin kasi kung isama mo, marami rin naman in my case dapat diba, walang palakasan ganun.
Exactly. Kasi
Eventually, nung July, when there were flights already, he said naman, I'll stay here na lang because there's zero COVID. So when I could bring him home already because there were flights. He
Ayaw na niya.
opted to stay. My daughter, my eldest daughter, at the start she was complaining. She was going, Mom, there's COVID everywhere. Everybody's locked down. And you're the only one I know traveling around the country. So she was worried. And then, she was even saying, Dad's not there anymore. You're the only one we have. What if we lose you? I mean, of course, especially for somebody who has lost their dad, this is their fear. But well, I just assure it's like this. How can I resume travel when I myself am scared to go out? So,
Point.
pero I admit, mga first months, June, July, when I would travel, kanyari the next day I would wake up, tapos, syempre, you have dry throat because of the wearing of the mask. Minsan iniisip ko talaga, Lord, ito na ba? Kinukuha mo na ba ako? Kasi at that time, I was uncertain eh. But, after a while, you get used to it. As long as I assure my children that I follow, I'm very OC, you have to follow health and safety protocols. She's used to it. She's still worried, but she knows it's a job that I have to do. So it is. But at home, when we're at home, we have dinner together.
Nice.
But the one that's actually funny, the one that's actually having the hardest time is my dog.
Yes, the
Biggie,
famous one.
Yeah, because
Why?
during the work from home, she was beside me the whole time, and I got closer, of course, to my dog during the lockdown and it's the first time.
Oh.
So when I started going out, she couldn't understand that she was not seeing me
Oh,
anymore.
nasad.
At the start, I swear parang tao mag-isip, una pagka-uwi ko, hindi ako pinapansin. Ngayon naman, when I come home, wow, she's so excited. She's so, yung excited to see me, yon. It's actually, yon. So I had a difficulty with 3 people. My son kasi my daughter would probably make sumbong to my son na I'm always out. And so, but now they're used to it already. And then, of course, my dog, well, I don't know. Parang whenever she sees me now, she's just so excited to see me. But at the start, she couldn't understand bakit wala ako.
Ang cute na story.
Yeah, what kind of a dog is Biggie?
A pug.
How did you acquire her?
She's actually the dog of my son. My son's best friend passed away, and as the classmates gave Biggie as a gift to him because he likes pugs. And eventually, since he's not here, he became our dog. And during the quarantine, kasi siya yung katabi ko the whole time eh. Tapos for example, pag matagal na yung meetings ko, sometimes kasi our IATF meetings would last 12 to 13 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she would be hitting already my legs saying, tama na, parang
Pansinin mo na ako.
kasi naiinit siya. Sometimes there was a time I ended my meeting at 12 midnight. Naghihintay siya. Nandun lang siya sa tabi. Naghihintay siya. And then when naka-off na yung Zoom, she'll stand up na and then she'll join me na and then goes upstairs with me. She really waits for me. Man's best friend talaga.
And loyal, no? Very loyal. And I guess...
Very loyal. Hindi niya ako iiwanan. She's going to sleep muna there until... And then when I'm done, alam na niya eh, pag wala na siya narinig ng sounds from the computer, she'll stand up na and then join me upstairs.
Yan, nakakawala ng stress.
Yes, I know for a fact that during this pandemic, they call it fur babies, diba? Have been very helpful also with their parents, fur parents. So parang
they're nakakaalis ng stress kasi parang meron kang forever na baby tapos unconditional love. No matter what, they just love you.
Dogs are
And
the best
nakakawala
people.
talaga ng stress.
I agree.
Proven, yes.
Yun din ang aking stress reliever.
Your
My
dog?
dog. I have a
What's your dog?
Mixed breed. But she's a white, small dog who behaves the same way you described.
For
biggie.
busy women.
Oo,
And then
hindi rin siya
before, diba,
nag-iiwan.
she's now wondering, why are you out of the house?
Oo, may time din na hindi siya namamansin, and then time na super excited. It's so sweet.
Eh, di ba, parang tao talaga,
Oo.
Francine, I don't know if you have a dog, para siyang talagang tao na,
Oo.
it's the first time I got attached to my dog. Kasi before I didn't have the time eh.
So especially
ang
during this
sarap.
time. Yes,
So it's
yes.
very nice. Thank you for sharing that story about
Oo,
your
because
dog.
we
We're
have a
getting
lot
to
of
know
pet
you.
lovers out there.
Yes,
no?
and we're getting to know the secretary
Yes,
that much
further.
more.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we'd like to know more. Because you come from a very prominent family, and people know you from your public image, right? So we'd like to ask you to share some things about yourself as a child, how you were molded to be the person that you are now, and who were your mentors, ganyan. But before you start, before you tell us that story, we'll pause for another break.
Araneta City, home to the country's first indoor shopping mall, the world's original Thrilla, and the first ever Bini Bini pageant. Now a place for your first win, your first catch, your first home, your first big break, your first date, and even your first love. Araneta City, the city of firsts.
Good morning, sir. How may I help you?
Bakit kailangan ko pang pumunta sa bangko?
Oo nga naman, sir. Ba't kailangan pang pumunta sa bangko?
Why not get a UB app so you can do all these without going to the bank? Bank the way you live. Union Bank.
Ang Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators o POGO ay isang legitimate business entity na nagbibigay serbisyo sa offshore gaming para lamang sa mga manlalarong nasa abroad sa pamamagitan ng internet. Ang mga serbisyong handog nito ay katulad ng casino games at sports betting na pwedeng laruin kahit wala sa casino. Sa Pilipinas, walang POGO operators. Tanging POGO service providers lamang dahil nagaganap ang mga laro sa labas ng bansa.
And we're back. I'm Francine Marquez and I'm with Dina Ventura and we're talking to our Department of Tourism Secretary, Bernadette Romulo-Puyat. Off cam, we were enjoying our talk about Biggie.
And then,
Yes.
Pet dog.
Yes, and
Yes, before we pause for a break, we were asking the secretary, Secretary, kumusta naman yung childhood ninyo? I mean, you grew up with
Yes.
such a, di ba, prominent
yes.
family, mga statesmen, civil servants, everybody well-known.
Yeah, how did you come, how were you molded to get into public service? Was
it was funny because this was one path I didn't want to be in. Kasi my summers, especially kung election time, would be spent campaigning for my dad. He first ran as assemblyman, then twice as a senator. So while others spent their summers in the beach, I spent it campaigning for him. And I really didn't enjoy it. And so I would always say that, in fact, with my late husband, when we got married, I said, please don't enter politics because I really don't like the life of a politician's child or a politician's wife. And then, yun, I worked at the UP School of Economics. Of course, I took my master's first, and then I taught at the UP School of Economics for about 14 years. I taught Economics 11, macro, micro, and then public economics. So that's 14 years. And then But my dad never really encouraged us to enter government. Wala, he never really. But one thing about my dad, ano siya, baka doon lumalabas yung pagka-Ilocano niya. He was very, how do you say it? Well, kuripot kasi when you say kuripot, it's in a bad, but
May ibang connotation.
was good kasi parang he was always saying na whatever money you have, it has to be yung dapat wag magastos. So that's how we are. When you buy something, pag-isipan mo muna kung magagamit mo ilang beses. So we were trained, we grew up, we were into brand names. We weren't walang mga brand name na bags or ano. He was very he was very practical.
Oh, yun.
And then with my dad also, and even with my mom, hard work talaga. Nothing, you don't rely on your family. You just have to do it yourself. So while growing up, a lot of people were wondering why I didn't have security guards. But my dad was in politics because my dad was always saying, wala naman akong kaaway, so bakit nyo kailangan? And in his mind, kung mayroon daw kaming may nakabantay daw sa amin, para daw, hindi naman daw kami yung politician. Parang he found it wrong. So dapat daw wala kaming security. So we were very simple. It was a simple life. And when we wanted something, we wanted to buy something, we had to work for it. So I remember in high school, I would even nagbabuy and sell pa ako ng mga sapatos. Kasi if I wanted to buy something, I needed to work for it. My dad or mom would never give you extra money for these things. Kung ano yung baon mo, yun lang.
Ang galing
Ilocano
pala, Ilocano way.
The Ilocano way. Pero, and syempre when you were younger, you were thinking, bakit ganon? But at the end of the day, you really learn from it. And that's one thing also that my kids have learned. You have to earn everything. Money doesn't grow on trees.
Pero Secretary, what attracted you to take up economics? Was it you were planning to become a lawyer, like a P-Law course?
No, it was funny. All I knew is I wanted to study in UP. Kasi all my siblings were already in UP. And then I actually wanted to take business administration. To be honest with you, and I see it now among kids, you really don't know what you want to be in life when you're a teenager. So I thought, sige, business administration. But anyway, I don't naman remember who I talked to. So I remember when going to BA, the office there, yung nakausap ko medyo masungit. And then parang I was just asking, what are the qualifications, etc. Kasi my first course was English. So I wanted to shift to BA. And ang sungit-sungit niya. So, and of course, I was only 16 naman that time also. Yes. I mean, so immature. So sabi ko, ay nako, sige, hindi na ako mag-a-apply sa BA. Yung katabi ng BA was Econ. I would love to say that I had all these dreams. Nako, at the time, I didn't know what to do. So nag-econ ako, and then the time my older sister, she passed away na, Lupe, was also in economics. So sabi ko, sige, ito na lang. Parang wala, it was just there. Kung matanggap ako, good. Natanggap. So I actually see it when I see kids right now who don't know what to take up in life. You really don't know especially in college. Like I wouldn't, like at that time, I didn't think I would be in government right now because as I've said, I hated anything connected to government. And then after that, I thought, I had to take my master's. I taught at the UP School of Economics because in my mind, that was the path I wanted to take, to be a teacher. And I loved it. But after a while, they kept inviting me to enter government. Yeah. So I tried it. And then, in fact, when I was asked to enter the Department of Agriculture, by then, Secretary Arthur Siap, now he's the Bohol governor, he told me, can you join me at the Department of Agriculture? And then I gave the most immature answer. I said, wala akong alam sa agriculture. Hindi ako namamalengke. Imagine, wow. I cringe when if I could turn back time, I would not have said that.
Cute.
Yeah.
And then he goes, hindi na bale, just join me in the Department of Agriculture. If you don't like it, you can always go back to teaching.
Okay.
So that was under GMA 2006. And so I stayed in the Department of Agriculture under 3 presidents.
We
So
know
GMA, Pinoy, and then PRD.
Yes.
Yun.
And
Ang
who
galing.
knew that Secretary Puyat would make agriculture fun and creative and sexy? And I would remember the festivals, harvest festivals, and promoting local rice, connecting them with chefs. I mean, all the creativity came out during your term, Secretary.
Yes, in fact, the other day I was so touched. I ordered this chocolate. There's so many brands of local chocolates. And then I ordered from them. I said, "Oh, can I try?" Because whenever I see because I remember my time in the Department of Agriculture. So I want to try anything new. Kasi at that time, I started 2006. Nobody was really into farming,
Yes.
Of course, there were farmers, but not yung... It wasn't like not like now, di ba? People love local, supporting local. But at that time, like the adlay, I remember, nobody knew what adlay was. And then we introduced adlay 2012. And parang nobody could understand what adlay was. And then when I introduced it to Margarita Forest, then it became now I'm
Trendy
happy
food.
everybody's eating adlay. But
Trendy
actually,
food na siya.
the adlay, we wanted adlay so we could help the indigenous tribes. It's at 70 pesos a kilo. Ngayon, nagugulat ako, mahal-mahal. But I just hope that it's really still going to the farmers. Now, with the cacao, I ordered the chocolate bar. What's the name? 1990. So I ordered, and I was so touched when she said, "Ma'am, we actually entered this because of you." And I was so shocked because I didn't know who they were. And when you were with the DA, you were promoting local cacao. So, yun na nga whatever you do pala, no, it goes back,
Yes.
So I'm so grateful for my time in the Department of Agriculture. At the time, I was supporting local food, the produce of our farmers. Now I get to promote the whole country.
Yeah. Tingnan mo nga naman yung
Transition.
diba? Like, it was perfect, I think, that you had that background in agriculture and then you jumped to tourism because now you're bringing whatever you learned in agriculture kasi
And economics.
that sector needs a big boost, di ba?
Oh,
So,
of course.
tourism is one way to help our
Food tourism.
local
At
industries.
the time when people would say, local cuisine cannot be united because may kanya-kanyang mga flavors
Yes.
and all. Pero ngayon, because of Secretary, parang may cohesiveness happening, no? In terms
Remember,
of loving.
Francina, before people would when they serve food, they would always say, "Oh, this is imported from this country, imported from that country." Ngayon, we got these mangoes from Guimaras, the cacao from Davao. There's now pride. I think it was just a matter of showing to the chefs that we had quality products, but that was just waiting to be discovered by all these wonderful chefs.
Yeah, ang galing nga, ang galing.
Nice.
Perfect.
Secretary,
Perfect.
yes. We trawled your social media account and got some photos. We hope you can allow us to ask you questions about what these photos are.
Of course.
So, first photo. You always have something inspiring. That's what we noticed.
I'm not sure when I posted it, but it was probably a day that I myself was not having a good day. And then I thought that this would something, if I had read this at that time, I would have liked it. It's something, di ba, sometimes for no reason when we wake up, something, it's not every time it's good. But if when you read this, it's something that makes you hopeful
Mm.
and think positive.
Mhm. Mhm. Wow. Next photo.
Oh, let's biggie! See?
Ah, cute.
Kaya nga. In your office.
Yeah, look at her.
Oh, nakasmile din eh.
Oo.
Oh, look at her. Oh, wow. Biggie is just, I don't know. She puts a smile in my face. And, she's been my lockdown buddy.
Mhm.
She's my girlfriend, my lockdown girlfriend. And she has kept me sane throughout the pandemic.
Mhm. It's a good story. Inspiring.
Yes.
Our next photo.
Oh, my kids.
Yes.
This was during we had to my son. I was just appointed as DOT secretary because it was just sudden my appointment. But my son graduated from the UK, top of his class.
Wow.
He graduated first class honors, which was equivalent to summa cum laude, and we decided to go. This place was he studied in Newcastle University, and that's where they had they're Harry Potter fans, and this is where they shot first Harry Potter film. This is also where they shot Downton Abbey. Di ba tayo pag mas
Yes.
matatanda, Downton Abbey?
Oo.
Mga bata,
Yes.
Harry Potter. But it's the same. And when my husband was alive, we would travel to a different place or country every year. When he passed away 11 years ago, I decided to continue it, that we would go to a different place every year. And exacto, this was his graduation. So we all spent it there.
Very nice story.
Do you have plans of traveling together soon?
Yes, my birthday. I already planned it with them, but around the country.
Oh, that's
That's
good.
in May.
Oh.
This May, where the three of us are. And my daughter's so still scared. Maybe I'm not that effective because she's still scared to travel. But she finally said yes this May.
Nice. Our next picture.
Oh,
Artista
gaganda.
factor. Artista
yes, si
factor.
Marian. Can I tell you that was the first time we met?
Ah.
And she's a friend of my older sister Mons, and she's been wanting to meet. I like Marian because that she wears everything she wears is local.
Ang ganda.
And you're-
She makes a conscious effort to wear local because she actually loves local. So all her clothes are local. And in fact, that particular blouse,
So
I
nice.
liked it. So I said, parang, where did you buy it? And then she said, sige, palaba ko lang ito, ipadala ko na sa'yo.
Wow, ganun siya kabait.
Oh, so in fact, I
Parang
wore
no
black.
filter.
This is funny. For this interview, I was supposed to wear that blouse.
Oh.
It's outside my room, so hindi ko siya nasuot.
Okay.
But that's how nice she is. So she sent me. So after that, nilabhan lang niya, and then she sent it to me. Buti na lang kasha.
Of course.
Magkapareho kayong size.
And we've seen you, Secretary, wearing all kinds of beautiful terno,
Yeah.
locally made jackets and clothes.
I've been wearing local more than 11 years, 12 years ago. Except maybe now lang napapansin because I'm with the DOT. But I've always liked wearing local. It started with the one who made Marian's blouse was Philippine Ina. In fact, this is also Philippine Ina, what I'm wearing now. Hindi pa sikat siya si Len Kabili. I would buy from her kasi her pieces are tingnan mo, it's woven by in Mindanao. But diba it can be worn it's modern. So, and then what I'm wearing naman, the top is bench.
Oh.
I
Nice,
buy it from
bench
Bench Hang, and then the bottom is Red Ayala, and then the necklace is Joyce Makitalo. It's all local.
Ang ganda.
Kasi ang dami nating magagandang local products.
Yeah, and then, I mean, even the wearer, whoever wears it, the personality comes out. Maybe another person would wear that, pero not the way you wore it. Parang ganun ang tingin ko eh.
And me, when I buy something, iniisip ko kung ilang beses ko magagamit.
Practical. I like that.
You have to be practical eh. So, and then yun na nga eh, the one that top, everybody's so surprised that that's bench.
Ang
Me
ganda,
too.
actually.
Ngayon, I'm surprised.
Yeah, he sells a lot of terno tops. In fact, Ben Chan was the first to, his dream kasi years ago was to introduce the terno to women, that they don't have to wear it during formal events.
Yes.
Kasi di ba other countries, di ba, they really wear their national costume.
Yes.
Ang sa Filipino, what is distinctly Filipino is the terno.
Maybe we should continue pushing that.
Yes.
Filipiniana Fridays ba yun, Secretary?
Yeah, Filipino fashionable Fridays. In fact, I posted nga also Friday, I wore a terno top. Kasi di ba you can wear it with jeans, you can wear it and anywhere, you can wear it casual.
Uy, gawin
And it's
natin
really
yan.
proudly Filipino. Would you believe when I'm abroad, I wear terno and no fail. They stop me and ask me, what is that? And then I remember there was one time we had a parang bilateral with my counterpart from Thailand. And then before the meeting start, she said, wait, she asked me, can I ask you something? Where did you get your top? And it was a terno.
Ang galing. It's
Yeah.
because you wear it so well also.
Oo.
Then it's nice now, di ba? The terno, it's not masyadong mataas na Space Invaders.
Yes,
Parang
yes.
it's
Space Invaders. Yes. Yeah. So, next photo. Yun.
Oh, this was in Baguio. Lemons. Actually, not Baguio, one of the municipalities around Baguio. And I was so shocked that they were selling this lemons.
Laki yun.
Tublay. This was in Tublay. They were selling lemons. And I actually love this because since entering the Department of Tourism, I had not been able to visit a farm. And this was the first time I was able to visit a farm since I became DOT secretary. And, it just goes to show that, part of tourism is promoting your food. And it's big,
Which is
diba? It's
true.
quite big.
Super.
Yes. And we have
I
a
thought
lot
it
of good resources. Yes.
Yes.
Our next photo. Ayun.
Oh, this was in Quezon oh my God, I'm drawing a blank, Villa Escudero.
Wow. Villa
Just Villa
Escudero.
Escudero.
Diba?
So there's a lake beside where you eat. And I just found it so beautiful, the lake. So I just took a video of the lake beside Villa Escudero.
I can imagine all the inspiring sceneries, landscapes, waterscapes that you've been to, Secretary. No? Ganda.
Actually, because of the pandemic, I'm now able to visit more places in the country, which is which is but right, because how can you promote your country outside if you don't know your own country? Remember the late Susan Calo Medina,
Yes.
huwag maging dayuhan sa sariling bayan.
And I guess that's what you're doing right now. Parang just soaking up everything, absorbing all the new places, no?
And I'm enjoying it naman. I'm enjoying it. Yung una at the start may takot, but now I'm enjoying as long as you have you wear your mask.
Yeah, I guess on my part, we forgot that part about Villa Escudero.
Yes.
Diba? May ganyan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was so
rediscovering.
surprised. We were supposed to eat by parang they have this man-made waterfall. But then it was raining, so we transferred here. And I was so shocked that they had this beautiful
Ganda.
river.
Yeah.
So you can just sit down there, and sabi ko nga, as long as you have internet, you can just work from anywhere.
Yes. Promote. Work from home next tourism campaign. Work from any part
Work
of
from
the
anywhere,
Philippines.
diba?
Work from anywhere.
Especially
Workation.
the kids now are online. So you can bring them anywhere you go. In
Yes.
fact, I was one time in El Nido. There were kids there. Pwede kasi yung mga bata in El Nido.
Mm-mm.
And then yung kids during the day were inside their rooms online. And then yun, lumalabas na lang pag outside, pag after their classes. So what the kids were doing, they go to the beach. Tapos when classes start, they're there na. Tapos after classes, nasa beach na naman.
So yeah, that's the life.
Yeah,
Diba?
for the mental health.
Yes, and for people to enjoy nature, which
Yeah,
we don't have in the city.
Yes, and enjoy the country. We have 7,641 islands. All these tourism products we have. If you wanted cold weather, you can go to Baguio, the beach. You can go surfing, nature. There's so many things to do around the country. Or if you're scared, you can just go when Intramuros opens again. You can go around Intramuros. Intramuros won last 2019 the world's leading attraction.
Wow.
Yeah, by the World Travel Awards. Yun, maganda to go biking around Intramuros.
When it's
Which is
not so
something
hot.
pala I took just during now. I'm biking. Well, I can't say I'm a professional biker, but I've been biking in every place I go to. It's one thing that it's nice with biking because it's open air. There's physical distancing and you're alone. You can do it alone. You can do it with friends. And it's actually nice to go around biking.
Yes, I agree.
Diba? Open air.
Open air. Pero kay Francine, it's running eh.
Oo, pwede rin.
Yeah,
Iba pala.
running.
Yeah.
Running,
But
yes.
still enjoying the outdoors.
But you should try running in Intramuros. Ang ganda-ganda
I
talaga.
will do that.
Yes, tell me para it's really
Sige,
nice.
Sige. We'll do that, Secretary. Next photo. Ayan ang
Oh.
biking.
Biking again. That's my son.
Where's this? It's a beautiful place.
It's in
Oh,
El
very-
Nido.
Wow. Touching. It's a very...
He's an environmental officer there. So by the beach, we went biking, and of course he was shocked. Actually, he was shocked to see that I was biking. Prior to biking in Intramuros, the last time I went biking was in grade school.
Oh.
So
But
I
they
wanted to
say-
see what the fuss was about. So when we were there, we went biking, and then the sun was setting by the
Ganda.
beach.
Ang ganda.
Ang sarap. It was like a time, and of course, since he's the only man in the house, kasi Biggie is also a girl,
Yeah.
so he's the only man in the house. So, syempre, nag-aalala. Are you sure? Do you wanna bike? You might fall, etc. He's 24 years old now.
Oo.
So,
But
and then prior to this, the last time I saw him was December. He went home for Christmas. And prior to December, the last time I saw him, December 2020, was Feb 2020.
Layo.
Kasi
Lockdown.
I saw him pala, I saw him pala, I'm sorry, I saw him pala for the day, but not like spend time with him kasi during the lockdown, we would just fly in, talk to the LGUs to open, then I would leave. So I couldn't spend time with him like this because
Walang time.
actually this is the first time we really spent time together because before when I would go to El Nido, I would be surrounded by so many people kasi we were asking the LGUs to open.
Nice.
I guess that's what tourism is all about, making memories, no, for the travelers.
Yeah, and we're wearing masks hindi mo lang napapansin.
Yes. Ganda.
Ang naisip ko lang dun sa kwento din, once you learn pala talaga to ride a bike,
Yes.
You'll never forget
Yes.
how to do it.
It's true. It's like riding a bike. Yeah, it's true. Kasi the first time I started, that was Feb in Intramuros. I said, sige na nga, try biking kasi they have the BAM bike. And as soon as I rode it, but of course, I chose the pang bata, yung pang maliit kasi I could, I could control it. But it's like riding a bike. Once you know how to bike, it's easy.
Yay.
But ito nga medyo mataas for me. That's why he was worried because it was a bit high for me. But kaya naman, I didn't fall. Knock on wood.
Yay, nice experience. Our next photo. This is our last. We had to put the
Yes.
comment, your post. It's very inspiring.
Yeah, this picture was actually taken during the sauna 2020. I just got an old terno. In fact, they only told us that we had to attend the sauna a week before. And I admit at the time I was going, naku, nakakatakot. Gagawin ko ba ito? That was July. Parang, and wala kasi that's it pakisama rin di ba? You have to show it's and this was one of the first times that parang you weren't wearing a mask. And so in fact and then I posted this actually during International Women's Day. It was my tribute to, I was asked kasi who do you look up to for International Women's Month? And normally, syempre, I will always say my mom, or but I actually chose the frontliners, the women. Why? Because during the pandemic, we had all these women who were scared for their lives. The doctors, even those working in groceries.
Yes.
But they had to go to work to be able to, well, first it was their job and to make both ends meet. And I thought that they were the real heroes, for me, really heroes of, lalo na nung 2020 and even up to now. Because they're every day they're risking their lives. But at the same time, there are people home that also need them. In fact, there was this commercial that it was, I think not commercial, it was real life, a soldier. She couldn't even hug her kids kasi she was a frontliner. Diba? Nakakaiyak, diba? So malayo sila. Or there was this one, nagbihis siya, naka-plastic siya para mahag lang niya yung anak niya.
Yes.
But ganun yung mga babae kasi, we know this is our job, we have to do it. But at the same time, diba, your heart is breaking because you have also people back home that rely on you.
Ala, iyak na tayo niya.
Iyak. For me,
Story of our lives.
the one who really, ang tatapang, diba, were the frontliners, the women.
True.
Naiiyak si Dina.
Naisip ko rin kasi, the way you tell it, it becomes so real. And we see it every day also in our job. Kasi, di ba?
And we remember, they're not forgotten.
Yeah. Naiyak na naman ako.
I'm sure your family, they would prefer you stay home.
Oh, yes.
Of course, of course.
And I'm sure they're saying, Mom, mataas ang numbers pagka pa lumalabas. But you have to.
It's a job.
Yes, on that note, Francine.
It's a woman's job.
It's a woman's job. So, Secretary, thank you very much for all those very inspiring stories and words, and for opening up to us with your personal stories as well. But before we end the show, we'd like to ask you to give a message to women, to the frontliners, and to all the women in your industry and everybody.
Tourism was one of the hardest hit during the pandemic. So, and I feel for everybody, all the women that have either lost their jobs or are back working, but tourism is just slowly restarting. Now that there's a vaccine, and especially those working in all the quarantine hotels, you are already the first priority. You can finally get a vaccine. There is finally light at the end of the tunnel, unlike last year where we didn't know what was going to happen, kung saan tayo pupulutin, ganun na lang. But now 2021, it's hopeful. There's a vaccine. We know already what to do. there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Just stay strong, and just keep moving on. And we at the Department of Tourism will assure you that we will slowly restart tourism, of course, with health and safety protocols in place so that we can finally give jobs back and make tourism again a major contributor for economic growth. And with all those who want to travel for Holy Week or for summer, just remember the minimum health and safety protocols: wear a mask, face shield, watch your distance, and wash your hands, and have a safe trip, Pinas.
Yay! Enjoy pa rin.
Yes, it's still more fun in the Philippines.
Yes, it's still more fun in the Philippines, even with health and safety protocols in
Yes,
place.
yes. Thank you very much, Secretary Puyat. Thank you for gracing our special edition of PairFect.
Yes, thank you, Dina, and thank you, Francine. Thank you.
Thank you. And this has been Dina Ventura.
And this has been Francine Marquez.
And this has been PairFect.